Hi students, in the previous video we discussed about what is a salt and what are the general varieties of salts and their properties. Now in this video we are going to see solubility of salts, how we can determine whether a salt is soluble in water or not. So keep watching. We see a large number of salts every day, and the salts, many of them are soluble in water, so some of them are not soluble. We see the natural water like water in a pond or a river containing large number of dissolved salts present in it. Some salts are, however, insoluble in water and some have very low solubility. So the salts also are soluble in acids and other solvents also. Now, but we are going to discuss about the solubility in water in this video. Okay, so it is important to know whether a particular salt is soluble or not. Why? Because with the knowledge of solubility only we can decide what method to use to prepare a salt. Now solubility salts, it varies with temperature also. Even though we dissolve in water, the solubility changes with the change in temperature. So we are going to see some important salts that are required for us. As per class 10 syllabus, we have chosen some salts. The solubility of salts which are commonly prepared, that we are going to see here. The cation of the salt is here in the left hand side, you can see. The next is the anion present. Okay. Now potassium, we are going to write whether they are soluble or not. Potassium ion, if potassium and its carbonate, the anion is carbonate, it is soluble. The potassium carbonate is soluble. Okay. Next, potassium chloride is also soluble. Then potassium nitrate is soluble. And then potassium sulfate is also soluble. What do you understand? All the salts of potassium are soluble. Carbonate, or whether it is chloride, whether it is nitrate or sulfate, it is soluble. Let's take sodium. Carbonate is soluble, sodium chloride is soluble, sodium nitrate is soluble, sodium sulfate is soluble. Again, all salts of sodium are soluble. Then let's take calcium. Calcium carbonate is insoluble. And calcium chloride is soluble, nitrate is soluble, sulfate is insoluble. So what do you see? Calcium, we have only two soluble salts, chloride and nitrate. The carbonate and sulfate are insoluble. Magnesium, the carbonate is insoluble, chloride is soluble, nitrate is soluble, sulfate is soluble. Right? Next, zinc, carbonate is insoluble, chloride soluble, nitrate soluble, sulfate soluble. Then iron, we have ferrous and ferric, dipositive and tripositive. Okay. Ferrous salts, ferrous carbonate is insoluble. Ferrous chloride soluble. Ferrous nitrate soluble. Sulfate soluble. Ferric carbonate is insoluble. Chloride is soluble. Nitrate is soluble. Sulfate is soluble. And then we have lead carbonate insoluble. Chloride insoluble. Nitrate soluble. Sulfate insoluble. It is not dissolving. Okay. Then we have copper. Copper carbonate insoluble. Chloride is soluble. Nitrate is soluble. Sulfate is soluble. Ammonium, all salts are soluble. I think this is very clear. What do you understand here? Sodium, potassium and ammonium, the carbonates are soluble. All the remaining carbonates are insoluble. See? And chloride, only lead chloride is insoluble. The remaining are soluble. Nitrate, all nitrates are soluble. Sulfate, we have lead and calcium insoluble. The remaining are soluble. Okay. Now, how can we summarize? Summarize like this. All sodium salts are soluble in water. First thing to conclude. Then, all potassium salts are soluble in water. All ammonium salts are soluble in water. Yes. And then all nitrates are soluble. Whether it is any metal, it is nitrate, then it will be soluble. All lead salts except the nitrate is insoluble. Only the nitrate is soluble. The rest are insoluble. Now, one speciality about lead chloride, this can be asked as a question. Lead chloride is soluble in hot water. If you heat the water to high temperature, it will dissolve. But on cooling, again, it becomes insoluble. Insoluble in normal or cold water. Okay, so it can be a question. A salt soluble in hot water but insoluble in cold water. What is it? The answer is lead chloride. Then all carbonates except sodium, potassium and ammonium. The remaining all carbonates are insoluble in water. So this is what we have about solubility. And then two more points that we can discuss is about chlorides. All chlorides except the lead, it is insoluble. Lead is insoluble. The remaining chlorides are soluble. All the other chlorides are soluble. Then calcium and lead sulfates are insoluble. If you remember these points, and also remember this table that we have made here, this table that helps you to understand whenever a salt is told, immediately you can decide whether it is soluble or not soluble. Okay. So this helps you in determining what method you will use for the preparation of salts. Okay. So students, I think you understood about solubility of salts, and you can subscribe the channel and like the video, and also share with your friends. You have questions, you can write it in the comment section. In the next video, I will be discussing about the methods of preparation of salts, different types of salts. The first one will be on soluble salts. So subscribe and keep watching. Thank you.